Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. Another exciting day on the markets, dare I say. Just having a quick look at the Dow. Now we're running some trends at the moment, and we are a little bit sus of the market just in the sort of shorter term. And if you look at the Dow here, we think the Dow's got a little bit further to run, so we're going to run the trends a little bit longer, and see where they go. But I still think there's another at least sort of I think to sort of at least another sort of 200, 250 points on the Dow before she might sort of come down and have a little bit of a breather. So we're going to run those trends obviously a little bit harder. Looking at our market today, it was really ugly today. It was pretty much across the board, down 1%, and a little bit strange, really. We had such a bullish day yesterday. You can see bounced off that short-term trend line, went back up, tested out that 550. And we're hoping for a little bit better day today, but then bang, down she's again, right back on that short-term trend line. So obviously it's not, it's the way it moves. There is a little bit of support there at the moment. So hopefully obviously the Dow can have a decent night tonight, and it can hold that support, so we can obviously have a little bounce up on Monday. Just having a look. I mean, the trends weren't all. Although the market was tough today, Evolution, Northern Star, it's good to see the gold stories coming back again. Important to have that gold in the portfolio at the moment, just the way the world is. FPH won their court case, so hopefully that's had a good bounce up. I think one stage up about sort of 7% on a tough day, so that's excellent. FXL, we're looking to take a profit on it fairly soon. Some of the sort of mid caps that Hansen were down. Aristocrat will most probably take a profit fairly soon, and ALQ, I think sort of setting itself up for hopefully a bullish week next week. The talk of the day, Bellamy's got absolutely hammered, and it's quite fascinating, really. You don't often get, nearly every broking house, Ord Minnett, Morgan's, Shaw Stockbroking, you name it, bar one, didn't have this stock going to $16, $17 on growth. For so many brokers to get this wrong, and it's sort of quite surprising. But I think if you're in this stock, for me, I'd definitely be holding it, and I'll tell you sort of the reason. A lot of brokers with Bellamy's had extremely high sort of growth rates on this stock. They were, believing it was going to grow by another 60% this year, and Bellamy's have had a fantastic last few years, and it's been one of the sort of darlings on the market. And the other week it started to look good again, holding that trend line, looked like it was going to go up. I think basically what's happened with Bellamy's is very, very simple. They're just having puberty issues, getting their distribution networks and getting their products settled into China at the moment. They've had a great run up in China. Now they've got to register all their products. It's slightly difficult for them. They've got to go for that process this year. While they're doing that, it's quite hard for them to set up really stable distribution networks throughout the whole of China. The other issue that they've got as well at the moment is a lot of similar products that they believe will not get, they won't get approval in China, are now discounting their products at very, very low rates just to obviously sell them, get them sold off. So this is also affecting Bellamy's margins. However, what I think you've got to do, Equity Story, is ignore, in a way, sort of this short-term sort of weakness as the company's growing, and look on basically 2 or 3 important factors. Bellamy's is a fantastic product. I use it for my own little 2-year-old. It's incredible. It's the first natural baby food formula in the world, right? It's a great product. Everyone likes it. It's growing. Bellamy's is growing its revenue in Australia. It's growing its revenue in China a bit, although a lot sort of slower than what the market expected. China has got 150 million, roughly middle-class Chinese, which is tipped to grow around 350, 400 million in the next 4 years. What does that tell you? Huge growth potential for this product. Bellamy's is only at the moment in 5% of the distribution networks it can be in China. So there's 95% of the distribution networks in China it's going to go into in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. The growth potential of Bellamy's in China is absolutely astronomical over the next 4 or 5 years. Plus the fact the growth potential around the rest of Asia is there. I think all you've got here with Bellamy's is just growing pains and nothing more. I think the management maybe that this. I think the report was lousy today. As one of the best traders. We've got Equity Story. He read it and he just called me up. He said, Dave, how amateur. I mean, and I think sometimes rather than companies sort of do these wish-washy announcements, they're better off to just tell the story as it is and say, hey guys, listen, we've had an incredible 2 years. We've got issues now. We'll fight our way through it, and we've got that growth to look forward to over the next 4 or 5 years. We just got to get it right. So, I think it's more important that management are direct and honest, and I think the market don't. You don't get quite this sort of reaction. The market don't like uncertainty, and if management sort of are not positive enough and are not completely honest, I think it just gives more uncertainty, and you get these sort of sell-offs. However, like I said, we're big believers in the Bellamy story. Got no problems with it whatsoever. So, what are we going to do? What's the plan? Well, 3-year growth. We've got an amazing opportunity, and I'm going to talk tonight about making money. We've got an amazing opportunity to buy Bellamy sometime in the next 2-3 weeks and clean up on this stock. So, what we're just going to do is wait at the moment. I think it's going to, if you look what happened to Blackmores, it will sell down a little bit. Maybe that $5 could be actually a price target. There's a lot of shorters in this company anyway, so maybe around $5 we could be starting having a look at it. We're going to have a chat with management early next week. We're going to just, I've got the great Cobbets onto it, so we're going to have a chat with management this week. We're going to look at it, and sometime in the next 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, we're going to put this as a 3-year growth story. And I believe we'll make a lot of money with it, hopefully, when we do. Also, we'll look for when the stock starts turning up and we start seeing a bit of momentum, we'll dive back in it. And this is a company we've already made 30% on trending this year. And I'll tell you what, next year I'm going to make a lot of money on it as well. So we've got an opportunity here. We've just got to pick it at the right time. And I think it's going to be a good. It's going to be a good story for us next year, Bellamy's. That brings me a little bit. I was watching a guy I've got a lot of time for, actually, Roger Montgomery last night. I really like that guy. I think he's done a lot to. He gets knocked a lot, but I think he's a wonderful guy. I think he's done a lot to make this business a lot better over the last sort of 10 years. And he was talking last night about what he says is an absolute crash has been in the last 2-3 months on 3 years sort of mid-cap companies in Australia. And it's true. I mean, a lot of these elections, just before the elections and recently, a lot of people have moved out of these aggressive 3-year growth stories into sort of blue chips with the dividends. But as he was saying, he believes this is going to be very, very short term, and he thinks it's not going to be long before the money starts flooding back into these 3-year growth stories who are now sort of getting at really attractive sort of multiples. And that leads me, I mean, Equity Story, I don't think there's last sort of 3, 4, 5 months, we've sold a lot of our 3-year growth stories that were doing well. I don't think there's many companies that have actually played this sector, and this is obviously a sector you can make a lot of money in. There's not many companies that actually played this sector as well as we have over the last sort of 3 or 4 months, and we sold a lot of stocks and took profits. And now we're doing very similar to Roger. We're looking to go into these stories and try and buy good companies like Adasol. I'll go for the ones we like. Obviously things like Appen, we've gone back into it. So these sort of support levels. Again, what a fantastic company. Please go on the website, read up about the story. Adasol, back in it again. Again, it's a lightly trade. It might go a little bit low. If it does, get some more. This is a great story. I think about 50% of its earnings are recurring. Contracts over 5 to 12 years. some of the ones we sold, which are exciting. VTG, we're going to have a chat with management over the next few weeks. This, if it gets around to this sort of $2, could be a fantastic opportunity to make money on VTG next year. We're watching it carefully. Next DC, again, looks like it could go back here around this 260, 270 mark. This is one of the great growth stories over the next 3 or 4 years. What a fantastic opportunity. Again, we've made a lot of money on NextDC. Let's see if we can do it again next year. BWX, again, we've made good money on BWX. It's coming down. The Bellamy's announcement today scared this company big time, so it might even come down a little bit more. It's so exciting. We're watching it closely. I think there's a good chance we can make good money with it next year. Catapult, one we bought at $2, we sold it at $2.50. We bought it again at $2.50. We sold it just under $4. Again, it's looking good. It's coming back on support. Let's see if this goes a little bit lower, even anywhere around $2, $2.50. Again, Catapult, we can a stock we made a fortune on, could make even more money on it next year. NVL, again, a company we made money on. Sold this one a little bit too soon. It's come back. I wonder if it can come back to this 160 mark. These are great 3-year growth stories that growing their earnings and good businesses. Very, very exciting. We can get into these companies again and make money. Corporate travel, again, if you can come back to these sort of $16 levels, about that high, I think it'll be an excellent time to get back into corporate travel. So we're sort of excited. I think we played this 3-year growth story really very, very well. There's a lot of good companies out there. I think and the ones that we've gone into have held up really well, and the ones we kept, and the ones we put on recently is Somnameds and the IGO, and GTK is doing very well for us, hasn't had any sort of pullback. Over the wire, Hey Morgan's just put a target price of over the wire at $3.30. 80% of that stock's owned by a few people, so there's very, very little volume in it. I mean, you buy 10 grand, you can put the price up 10 or 15%, so it's little volume, but again, Morgan's have got that tipped as a great growth story, as we do Equity Story. Elders, done really well over the last few months. I think XIP is great buying at the moment. They just did a takeover, so the price went down to obviously the takeover price. Rural Funds has held up brilliantly. So I think we've done really well Equity Story on picking the right stories and holding those ones and selling the ones that have come down, and looking now to get back into not all of those, but some of those next year. So that's basically all I've got to say tonight. Equity Story is those 3-year growth stories. There's a lot of money to be made there. We're looking to add Bellamy's. We're just going to try and pick the right time to do that, and we're certainly very excited at the potential of this sector for next year. Just looking at another 3-year growth story, little ALU. Again, it's got sold down again with the market today, but again, it's another great little company which we've got our eyes closely on. All I've got to say is that Monday morning we've got a 3-year growth with dividends. It's a company. It's on a P of about 7 or 8, and it gives a dividend of about 8-9%, and it's got growth. So it's an exciting little story. It's going on Monday morning, and I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, thank you very much, and have a wonderful full weekend, and good night.